Hey guys, it's David from HNU here with the team. We've got Aimee and Beryl today. Brian's joining us with Aimee. We finally got Aimee. Yeah!
Yay!
Yay! I'm here.
It's great to have you on back onto one of our podcasts, Aimee. I know it's like with scheduling. I mean, we're obviously I'm in England, Brian's in one part of the country, and you're in another. So it's a bit of a stretch, but we will get it done and be able to cover both coasts and get some more input from you and Brian. So we'll see what's going down here. So first off, guys, if you're just joining us, we're going to be talking about three major things really in this podcast. First off, is how the 21st Century Fox and Disney merger is going to affect HHN. Some of our thoughts on that. And then we'll be talking a little bit about the Monster Palooza panel, which our team member Aimee, she'll be going to check out and report back to us. Hopefully, we can get some more information on what's coming from John and Chris's panel. And lastly, just a bit of speculation. So, without further ado, we'll jump right into the 21st Century Disney merger. So I'll lead you guys off. So just recently, 20th Century Fox has finished the merger with Disney. So now Disney owns 21st Century Fox. Now, some of the properties that are included under that is some major ones are AVP, basically the Alien and Predator franchise, as well as, and this one slips through a lot of people, is the is AHS as well. So American Horror Story is under that jurisdiction. John Murdy just said in a tweet that it's unlikely that we'll be getting it back, just because now, as he put it, the mouse owns American Horror Story, basically. So I'll lead it back to you guys. What do you guys think?
Well, I think that losing AHS is going to be a really big hit, like a big blow to Horror Nights, just because it's such a huge draw year after year for a lot of the more mainstream Halloween fans. It's such a big brand, and it's something that's like currently on TV, so people can get excited about it and get engaged with it, now. So the fact that there's a potential that could go away, I feel like, that's really unfortunate. Those mazes have been, maybe not the best ones that come around each year, but they're different each year and they're pretty innovative. So, I think that might be interesting, and that, less people could potentially be interested in returning just based on that.
What do you think, Brian?
Well, I kind of was mulling it over today, kind of, thinking in my mind how this is really going to affect things. And yeah, it's true that a lot of things like, American Horror Stories and, like Alien and Predator, it's going to be kind of really touchy now. I mean, I guess it's a good thing that we did them when we did in the various coasts. So that way, at least we got them out of the way. And I was kind of looking at the, but in all honesty, I was kind of looking over the list because I was curious because, once I thought, okay, Disney owns Fox now. What does that mean for Halloween Horror Nights and Universal? I kind of started looking over their, catalog of horror films. And honestly, apart from like, Alien, Predator, and another one I didn't think of, The Fly, other than like those, like there really isn't like the biggest. I mean, I think a bigger blow to Horror Nights is actually losing like Warner Brothers and like New Line Cinema in comparison to like the amount of stuff you could actually do. Again, I'm not saying Fox wasn't a big loss, but I think I didn't realize that they didn't really have that big of a horror catalog, under their belt, other than like the big tier, standard stuff. But I will say, I am highly disappointed that we will no longer be able to get a Hangover Square movie. It's an obscure 1945 film. I was like, oh, because I was looking over the list, like, oh no, not that. Like, if there's anything that I would have wanted to see in a maze, it would have been Hangover Square. But oh well, what can you do? So. But I think this just gives more Horror Nights more creativity to kind of think on their feet now, because now like the choices are getting limited. You know what I mean? So it's either like come up with something new or like have those other studios that you can kind of branch out to.
I agree. I think, though, I think the biggest blow mainly is for a lot of people's hopes of getting a full-fledged alien maze. I think that's something everyone's been wanting, and I'm pretty sure that's a lot of people's white whale maze on their list. I'm not sure about the creative directors. I'm sure it is, just because of how big the property. We just had the 40th anniversary this year of the original film, and I think losing those does kind of put a stint in like trying to get it to the event. But you know what? You never lose hope. But saying that though, Disney is a bit of a hard company to get properties from. I mean, it was difficult just getting AVP for a lot of people don't realize is the obviously doing the original Alien was hard enough because Disney still owned a little bit of the rights to that. That's how they were able to do it in the great movie ride that used to be in Orlando, that segment where they had Alien. So they still had a little bit of the rights, and now all the rights now belong to Disney. It's a little bit of a difficult one to really bring in, and the same goes for Predator. American Horror Story, I feel, is a bit of a loss because there are quite a few seasons they can kind of, I don't want to use the word milk, but you can kind of build from. You guys were lucky, Brian, in Orlando. You guys got season 2 for Asylum.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's a great season, and we wanted that at our event, but instead we got Roanoke. Aimee, you were there for, I think, the first one, weren't you? The first time they did it.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
And I'll miss it. And I'm actually not that big of a HS fan. I've seen some of the seasons, but I haven't even seen all the seasons, and I definitely haven't seen the most recent ones. But I guess I don't know. Maybe it had started to become like a comfortable thing to go back to. Like, oh, there's going to be all these different mazes, but hopefully there'll be AHS, and it has like really familiar themes, and the show is pretty edgy, so you can get a lot more of those edgier things in the maze. So I don't know, it would be a loss in my opinion, and I would definitely miss it despite the fact that I'm not the biggest fan of the franchise in general.
I agree. I think also, Brian, you mentioned it with Warner Brothers now separating and doing their own thing. It's really cut down on what properties Horror Nights can actually do at the event. So the catalog of films is just getting very small. But saying that, though, Universal has some untapped films that they can work off of. I mean, let's look at. For example, I just recently saw the film Us from Jordan Peele, and I think it'd be a fun one to do. Maybe not as a maze. It works as a scare zone. Just have them walking around and that with the scissors. But who knows? There's possibilities there. But Universal also has a huge library of films they can draw from. Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead remake comes to mind. So there's not just one, but there's also the classic ones. And we'll be bringing that point up about the classic monsters later down in this video. But I think the Disney merger is going to really affect the event, at least later down the line. Next off, this is all for you, Aimee, because we're going to be talking a little bit about the Monsterpalooza panel and what we might see. So, what do you think we might see at the event? At the panel, sorry.
Well, first, I just want to say to anybody who doesn't know what Monsterpalooza is, that it is a convention focused on horror, creatures, monsters, obviously in particular, and the makeup work that events is going to be, special effects, makeup, and things like that. It's actually my first.
You're out there. Are we losing Aimee?
Oh, I was wondering if that was me. I was like, oh no.
No, it's so. Aimee sounds like she's going in sonic speed there.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. Really?
It sounds like someone's fast forwarding you.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, she's going over Monsterpalooza pretty quickly.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, did someone hit the fast forward?
Wearing it when you guys talk.
I mean, I can hear Brian fine.
Okay, good. All right.
Yeah, I think it's working fine. Sorry, Aimee, continue. Is it still? It's still happening.
Yeah. Now it's cut out completely.
Yeah, I can't hear her anymore.
Oh no!
We've
Finally, after all.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, wait, there we go.
Nope, there we go. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, that was I was hearing it in my ear too, so I just stopped talking because it was like super loud.
It just sounded like it sounded like a gerbil got stuck in a wheel.
Yeah, it was like intense. That was so weird. Okay, what was the last thing you heard? Because I don't know what got cut off.
Basically, you were describing Monsterpalooza.
Okay, yeah. So that's what Monsterpalooza is creature makeup and special effects makeup and things. So yeah.
Oh my god.
Horror Nights. Oh, I can hear it starting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit weird. Basically, guys, what Amy's saying is Monsterpalooza is essentially a big monster convention for makeup artists in the industry, effects artists. You can meet a lot of your famous celebs from the horror films that you kind of love, like things like that. And usually every year, John and Chris do a panel to talk about Horror Nights, and sometimes they do reveal stuff. And that's basically what Amy's trying to say. Sorry, guys. But yeah, Amy's going to be recording that for us. Amy, what do you think they'll reveal? Do you think they'll actually give us an announcement?
I would be really surprised if we got an announcement this early on. I feel like it's probably going to be retrospective. I wouldn't be surprised if during the Q&A or
I think
or anything like that. But who knows?
It's still acting up.
I'm just laughing that it's like every time Amy starts describing something, like she'll be like, the Q&A is, and then it'll start doing it. Yeah, I think that's the funny part.
Amy, I think your mic needs a bit of adjustment. We just got a message from Kicks and Whips on our chat. We are getting something soon. Definitely, I agree. John's even said that we'll be getting something sooner than we think, and I'm fairly certain we'll probably get an announcement maybe at the Monsterpalooza panel. Orlando will probably shortly be after that as well, or at least at the same time.
And I think Orlando's just happy that nobody's like revealed anything yet or like slipped anything. There's like, good, we're still in the dark.
Yeah, basically. There's so far we've been lucky. I'm so thankful that there's not been any leaks so far. Here at Horror Night Updates, we don't agree with leaks. And oh, hey Eric, you're right, dude.
Eric,
Amy, are you all right? Is it working?
the dribble stopped.
Is it working all
right? Maybe not.
Well, we'll keep going. Amy, you're more than welcome to jump in and see if it's working. So yeah, I think we'll probably most likely get an announcement at the panel. And I'm probably fairly certain that it's going to be soon. Yeah, Eric, I agree. There's we don't agree with leaks at Horror Night Updaters. We're not going to post or anything like that. So unless something gets put up in a hotel, which is done by the company itself by accident, that's the only time we'll probably talk about it, which they did last year. But
we are held responsible for employee advertising or hotel advertising.
Yeah, basically. But it's exciting. We're coming up to April. This year's going by really quick. I'm just going to try Amy. Amy, is your mic working all right? You tried it?
Well, I mean, halfway through that, I took my headset off and I'm just talking through my computer directly because it has its own microphone. Ooh. And it's still doing it. So, and when I was muted, I could still hear it happening.
You sound fine now. So yeah, jump
everything's
back
okay
in.
For the moment.
Go now, Amy. Go now.
Do it now.
Oh my gosh, I was trying to fix everything and I couldn't hear. So what are we talking about?
Oh, sorry. So we're just talking about the Monsterpalooza that will most likely get an announcement, as John has said on Twitter, that we'll be getting something sooner than we think. I will quickly say this. Let's see, Kicks and Whips. No real leaks yet, which is great, but some real solid possibilities have already been identified. Stranger Things, obviously, yeah, I agree. Killer Clowns and something Blumhouse related. That's already 3 out of 5 or less possible IPs. Yeah, Kicks, I completely agree. I think what you've just stated there is pretty much almost, I would say, I'd say about 75% confirmed. I'd say like Stranger Things is a big possibility. What do you guys think?
Oh yeah, they're gonna bring back Stranger Things. It was such a huge hit, and especially with like there being another season, like I would be shocked if they didn't have it.
Yeah, I agree. Eric's just said I'll be at Monsterpalooza as well. Well, say hi to Aimee when you're at the convention. Have a shout out.
Yes, come say hi to me. I will have a video camera and everything. I'll like post a thing about like what I'm wearing or something if people want to come up and say hi. And I'm planning on obviously recording the panel itself, but then also maybe just a little bit around Monsterpalooza and sort of, the highlights of the convention itself on that one day.
So with that note, I think we'll probably jump right into speculation because you guys in the chat, you guys are contributing, and we really appreciate that. Like, it's great to hear from you guys. Let's see. So Eric has said 3 things in life are guaranteed: death, taxes, and Stranger Things returning for HHN as long as the show exists. Oh my gosh, Eric, that's great. Yeah, Stranger Things is pretty much a given. I think everyone, even their grandmas, would probably say the same thing. Like, yeah, Stranger Things is definitely coming back. The one thing I think most likely will have a sequel is Universal Monsters. I think we're going to be getting Universal Monsters as it was a huge hit. I know there was a few monsters that John tried to do, but obviously with budget allowing, they couldn't do the Creature from the Black Lagoon. I think it'd be great to introduce that. Also, I'd love to see Halloween, based on the 2018 film, because it was such a big hit. And that's a Universal film, so I'm hoping Halloween comes back. I know everyone's probably sick of Michael, but I'll never be sick of Michael at this point. But what do you guys think?
Oh yeah, well I think that as far as like everybody's been saying, yeah, Stranger Things is a given. If they don't end up doing it, they'd be insane. Especially with no like actual big if we're not getting American Horror Story, then they gotta have something that's big for the television like demographic. So yeah, that's a given. And then as it was Kicks and Whips pointed out, I think a big one for Orlando is definitely going to be Killer Clowns, or at least I'm hoping. As I'm sitting here in the chat wearing like my Killer Clowns Halloween Horror Night shirt, as good luck. It's like, come on, this has to happen, because if this did happen, I wouldn't need to go to any other house. I mean, I love Horror Nights to death, and I would go see everything, but that would be my first stop every night. Would just be okay, go in and out of there at least twice, because I loved the Scare Zone. I love the franchise, and with so much opportunity coming down the pipeline, I looked at the other day because they were talking about that Critters sequel, but then they were also talking about it was kind of in a bundle thing with a Killer Clown sequel on Sci-Fi. So I'm like, okay, when Sci-Fi is kind of ran by NBC, so I'm like, okay, well. You could easily get people hyped for the stuff you got coming up down the pipeline, and the big property. Again, as we mentioned before, it's one of those they don't have many options left to work with as far as studios go. So take what worked and kind of just repackage it, because I mean we got to do all these houses anyway, so might as well save some money in the process.
What do you think, Aimee?
I agree.
I think. Aimee, did you did you enjoy the Universal Monsters last year?
I did. I enjoyed it a lot, but I mean, it definitely, I think you enjoyed it more than I did, and a lot of people enjoyed it more than I did. It's really hard with those types of the mazes that Halloween Horror Nights does, where the actors are, hitting the same thing over and over on like with timing rather than just instinctively looking for when people are coming. But I mean, that's how they have to be because of the amount of people coming through. But the first time that I went through that with you, I didn't get like a single scare through the whole thing. I was just right off beat for it. And it's not, sometimes that just happens when you go through a maze, but it just kind of, I think, dropped it down for me a little bit because the whole time I was walking through it, I was just missing everything. So, I got to experience the setup and the decor itself, but, I'd be seeing somebody popping back in a window, but I would not really get enough of a view to even be able to see like what their makeup was.
I'm just gonna pause that. With the kicks and whips, has just said classic monsters are getting a huge push, so it's returning in some way. I agree. I do think we'll probably get it in some variation, whether a scare zone or another sequel maze. But classic horror monsters is Universal's rebuttal to WB and Fox being removed from the selection pool. That's a good point. I think Universal's probably going to be like, well, look at our catalog of films. We don't need you, basically. I think, it's probably just one big rebuttal to those. And going back to what you were saying, Amy, that's the thing. That's the downside to maze conga lines. You always will either get all the scares or you'll miss most of the scares. If you watch Tim Tracker, I'm a huge fan of his work. Him and his girlfriend, like, they're fantastic. They when they go through a lot of those mazes in Orlando, you often see them. They do comment, was just like, "Oh, I didn't get scared that time because they missed them," or I think that's the downside with something as big as Horror Nights is the conga line issue, which it's like that's what happened in Stranger Things when we went through. It just it was one long line. You could see where the Demogorgon was coming out. And it just wasn't scary, but.
Now I got a question about that for you guys in Hollywood, because for us in Orlando, like we conga line everything. Like it's just like we conga line before we even get in the line. Like we're conga lining like just to like by the beer station before you even get to the front of the line. So I'm used to that. But but speaking of videos and like all that kind of stuff, I've seen like videos where don't you guys like plus like a little bit? I mean, not like, a whole bunch, but like, isn't there a little bit of spacing in between like groups of people? And then so is like Stranger Things like an exception, or is it always just a conga line?
I mean, I guess it really depends, because I can definitely say for Stranger Things, that conga line was insane. And we were just stopped in some of the rooms for, in excess of 3 to 5 minutes in one spot, watching the actor go in and out and in and out and in and out without moving. At the same time, we've definitely been through where I think the spacing was a little bit better, and the group in front of us was always, just out of view around the corner. And I think a lot of that probably has to do with the popularity of the maze and how quickly they're trying to push people through. Now, when we went through the Stranger Things maze, it was the first thing that we did, I believe.
Yes.
And the line was already, even though we were like at the front of the line to get into the park, there was already like 100+ people in line ahead of us. So,
wow.
Yeah. So I, for something like that, I wonder, if it got better as the night went on and they got a better handle on managing the crowd, or if it was like that the whole night. So I'm not sure.
Kicks and Whips just said Orlando is just one huge conga line. Again, when I watch Tim and Jen's videos, like you can see that they always get expressed, but you can see in the background just how big some of the lines get. And it's just one of those things that's just inherent to, I think, both parks. It's just it's a bad thing, but there's not much really Horror Nights can do, especially in Hollywood, we're a bit tight for space, so trying to deal with those lines is just very difficult. So scare wise, it can affect your scare or experience inside the maze. Going kind of rounding back to speculation, I agree. Killer Clowns is definitely a highlight. I think looking at the pattern that they did for Trick or Treat, I mean, that started as a scare zone. It became really popular. They made it into a maze, and we both got that. So going by that, Killer Clowns was also a scare zone last year, and that was really popular. And most likely, both parks are probably going to get it. I will mention this though. John Sading on Twitter. I don't have the tweet with me at the moment, but he did say that he managed to get an IP that everyone's going to flip out about, and that people are going to be very excited that's coming to the event. Now, which one this is I'm not 100% sure, but there's a lot of speculation. This is going to be like one of his White Whale IPs. So for me, I'm hoping it's going to be The Thing, but that's more like just wishful thinking. But
I think I would cry if it was The Thing.
I would be so excited if it was The Thing. But I say this every year, and people get so it's like, David, stop saying it's The Thing. I'm like, I'll never stop saying The Thing's not going to come. The Thing's going to come at some point. But there's a lot of speculation going around in the world. Like I said, I think for me, my top ones are probably Killer Clowns is probably going to come. Something Universal Monsters related. I would love to see Halloween 2018 again come, since it was one of my favorite films of last year, and it made a lot of money. It was very popular. Got very good reviews. And I think with the working relationship that Blumhouse has with Horror Nights, I think it will be a great addition to the IP lineup. But also, again, I could see, having seen Us, I think Kicks and Whips just said, David, that's what she said. The Thing is going to come. Oh, damn it. Yeah, oh, gosh. Yeah. The Thing is. God damn it.
That's gonna be on the shirt, the blood shirt this year, right on the front.
Eric just posted, if we keep asking for The Thing, I'm sure Murder will eventually go, okay, I guess. Well, he wants to do it. It's one of his White Whale IPs. It's already stated at I think it was Monsterpalooza last year, he was saying about which IPs are on his list, but it's going to be a very expensive maze to produce. That's the only downside. And Hollywood's budget is not as expensive as the Orlando one, so you got to keep that in mind. So at the moment, I think if they did it, they would have to sacrifice some costs a little bit down the road. But John and Chris, their team is amazing. I'm sure they'll find some way to make it work. So who knows? But yeah, that's basically my thoughts on this so far as to what's going on. Aimee, what do you think?
Well, I mean, obviously, I agree with your sentiments about The Thing, and like that would be, I mean, just absolutely amazing. I don't know why. I don't really have a good explanation, but I don't feel like they're going to do Us as a maze. I don't really have a good. I just feel like that's not gonna. I don't know.
I think John deflected that on Twitter, if I remember correctly, as well. Someone asked him, like, are you going to do Us? But saying that, though, John is quite the carny, and he will deflect anything.
Well, yeah, he's got to lead people down the wrong path. But yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that I wouldn't enjoy it if it was there, but I'd be surprised.
Yeah. I would buy a ton of merchandise. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If they did, I would buy a ton of merchandise for The Thing. Where is it? Kicks and Whips said The Thing was amazing in Orlando. They used actual fake snow. It didn't seem like the usual snow. Is that correct? The fake snow I've seen in the videos for like the body collectors back in 25 was fantastic. We've never actually had snow kind of come down a little bit at Hollywood. A lot of the snow is already there with the sound effects of snow. When we had The Thing back in 2011, I think this was before you started going, Aimee. Did you go in 2011, Amy? When did you?
I did not.
Okay, it was 2013. It was 2013. You started, wasn't it?
No, it was before that because I was going when I was just out of high school, and
oh right.
but then I had a gap.
Yeah,
where I stopped for a while.
2011 they had The Thing, but it was based off the prequel, and we shared it with Orlando. Both events had it. The snow effects were really cool for that, but it wasn't as elaborate as what they had in Orlando, where they actually blew snow. So, Kicks and Whips has just commented, "No Us Maze, it won't translate well. And honestly, Jordan Peele is amazing, but I feel Us is overhyped. Get Out was much better." I have to disagree. I wasn't a big fan of Get Out, to be honest. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I actually thought Us was better, but I don't know. I don't see Get Out as possibly being translated as a maze, and I think John has said that on Twitter as well. But who knows? Blumhouse would probably get My Bloody Valentine to you, so that would be a fun one.
Wait, you mean Happy Death Day, right?
Oh god, yeah, Happy Death Day.
I was gonna say like that. I want that house now confirmed. My Bloody Valentine to you confirmed.
Oh my god, yeah. Sorry, it's like 12. It's 1:06, guys, in the morning here. My brain is like melting. Yes. Yeah, David, don't disagree with me. Not allowed. Thanks, Kicks. Yeah, I am totally disagreeing with you. I can't disagree with the chat apparently. But yeah, I think it's one of those things though that with Blumhouse, if we do get chapter 3 to Blumhouse, I'm pretty sure it'd be Happy Death Day to you, which was a fun movie. If you get a chance to see it, it was worth it. I enjoyed it. They're both Valentine's Day-esque movies. Yes, kinda. Yeah. Yeah, I guess. There's love in Happy Death Day, so I guess it's tied there. But I'm pretty sure we'll probably get another Blumhouse. But
yeah, it's easy marketing. It's easy like for them to, just kind of promote things, especially this year when they put out the movie so early, and then they got another film actually coming out this year. What was it? The Hunt. And I was like, oh, it's a Universal movie that they're putting out in October. I'm like, you could like easily do a. I don't know. It says it's a horror-esque film, so I don't know too much about it, but you could probably put that together with Happy Death Day, make like a big like I could even see like them doing like a Blumhouse rental like kind of thing. Like it's just like, hey, get this now, like on video or something like to tie it in to kind of like spin off from the theater bit, but definitely do some kind of like third Blumhouse maze, because it's just, especially for like I said before, here in Orlando, like we just did Happy Death Day like last year. So like it would be a shame to like just miss it on the year that it came out. Plus we just did it, so it'd be fresh in everybody's mind. I don't know. That's just me.
Eric just posted, speaking of Valentine's, how would you feel about Holidays in Hell maze? I would love that. That would be pretty cool. John doesn't like to do a lot of original mazes. Now, there's a lot of speculation on why this is. I feel that sometimes he's not confident that something will pan out as popular. I mean, we were lucky with like La Llorona. That was amazing. But I think Holidays in Hell maze, I love that scare zone. I really enjoyed it. In fact, I went out and actually walked all the way back just so I could do it again. What did you think of it, Amy?
Oh, I absolutely loved it. I just think it's so fun. It's slightly absurd, but that's part of the joy in it. And seeing the different interpretations of like your classic characters is, I don't know, it's a lot of fun. So if they were able to do that in like a more structured format and maybe add like a real story to it, that would be, I think, really awesome.
I agree. Brian, if you get a chance, I don't know if you saw the video I posted, the footage I posted onto our Facebook page. That was us walking through Holidays in Hell the first time, and it was a fun maze. So if you haven't seen it, it's worth checking out, mate.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely checked it out back when you posted it. It was really exciting to look at. It kind of reminded me of the what's the house we did here in Orlando?
I know
Blood and
which one.
Guts.
Yes, I was going to say I knew which one you were talking about.
It definitely had like they reminded me of that, but like in scare zone format. And I thought it was great. I think that'd be a great thing to do and explore. Like they could even bring it back like next year and do like even more obscure holidays. Because I mean, like it seems like every day there's some like national like I don't know cookie day or like something like just exploit it to the max with all these like just holiday wise. I think that'd be really cool.
President's Day with all the presidents with hatchets trying to kill you.
Yeah, there you go.
I think the translation of scare zones to mazes can work if the property is Eric's just like HR Blood and Guts. That's an Orlando original maze, Eric. It was a really cool maze based off like some of those old horror hosts back in what was it the like the 70s and that. They used to be on TV. They'd present like Elvira was one where they just like they'd be a horror host and then they'd show a horror film. Orlando did like a maze based off that, and the character's name, the horror host was HR Blood and Guts. It's a fantastic concept. If you get a chance, just YouTube it. It was obviously this is one of the mazes I had to look up because obviously I've not been to Orlando yet, but it's worth checking out. But again, yeah, I would love to see a translation of some scare zones going. Speaking of which, actually, La Llorona, not a lot of people realize this, actually started as a scare zone. It was not a great scare zone, but it translated well to a maze. And, we got a new La Llorona film. So, guys, what do you think? We're going to get another La Llorona maze based off the film this time?
I guess that's a possibility. I honestly completely forgot the movie was coming out.
I think a lot of people did until like people was like, wait, Horror Nights had La Llorona? There's a La Llorona movie? Horror Nights.
What is all this craziness?
Yeah, I think it's just a bit crazy. I think the chance is there, but what do you guys think?
I think it's a possibility again, especially, everybody likes promoting films and upcoming stuff. And I think there's been enough time that you could bring it back, especially for the people that like first got into Horror Nights around that time. Like, they're getting up there in the years and then they could go like, oh yeah, I remember when they, had it as a house or a scare zone or anything like that. So I think enough time's passed. It's not like, Walking Dead where it's just like, oh, here we go again. That kind of thing. So it'd be cool. And it could be like a new spin on it too. So.
Never mind. Kix just said La Llorona, I believe, is Fox. I'm gonna fact check this.
Oh, geez.
Oh yeah, I think it's WB.
Oh, okay. Well, then we already know that there is going to be a law your own experience, but more than likely it's not going to be with Universal.
No. Kicks and Whips is correct. It's they've already said it's part of the Conjuring universe, which, judging by that, obviously it's a WB product. So most likely WB is just like, this is just going to be on our backlot event that we do that no one liked.
What about the new Pet Sematary movie? Who has that?
Paramount. That's Paramount.
Okay.
Oh, they might be. I mean, they already doing Transformers. I mean, at least they got some good graces.
Pet Sematary, I believe, is under the Paramount fold. So, but I think it's co-done by WB. I'm gonna check this.
Oh, jeez.
But I'm pretty sure it's
Because if it's Paramount, they're really hard up for money right now. So I could see them being like, "Yes, please, just make the maze."
Basically. I'm just checking it now. Let's have a look. See what studio does it say? It just says Paramount Pictures. So yeah, it's free game. So Pet Sematary is a possibility.
Well, I would love a Pet Sematary maze. That sounds like fun, especially with what I've seen from the trailer with the kids and the animal masks and everything. I think that could translate very well.
Also, there's the whole concept of the Wendigo. Ooh, that would be a very interesting original concept maze, or at least a scare zone. Famous cryptids, like you could do, like an evil version of Sasquatch. You could do Wendigo. You could do a whole bunch. Kicks and Whips just said Pet Sematary is possible. Universal is involved in international distribution. I did a speculation video on it. Okay. So that's good. So there's a chance there. Maybe. I mean, it's one of those things. I think Universal will put in their pocket. I'm not saying they'll do it this year, but it's definitely one that they'll probably like keep for another year. Like say, it's like, oh, we can do this. We have a route to it if we need more IPs to put into the event. That's my thoughts on that. So, but what do you guys think?
Yeah, no, I think you could definitely do Pet Cemetery, at least like you said, down the road. At some point, keep it in the back pocket, and at least on the list of like, okay, we could feasibly do this versus like all the other properties that like now they have no access to.
Guillermo del Toro's Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Yes, Eric, that is a good idea. I don't know if that is. I think that's Paramount as well, if I remember correctly. So we wouldn't have to worry too much about that.
And we all know Del Toro's worked with Horror Nights before, so
yeah. For that amazing Crimson Peak maze, I know it has a mixed bag, but I enjoyed it.
I loved it. It made me really excited for the movie. And then I thought the movie was okay. Like I didn't like it as much as I thought I was going to, just based off of the experience in the maze. But it was just so incredibly immersive walking into it, and it just looked like you were actually inside that mansion, and it blew me away. And especially oh gosh, what was it? Like in the basement, those like vats that they had. Like, and it was like, real size. Like it was such a large room. I just found it to be incredibly impressive.
Fun fact, I built it in Minecraft. I built the whole maze in Minecraft.
What?
I'll link you guys the video after this, but I actually built it. It took me a couple months, but I built it. Yeah, I just looked. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is actually a CBS/Lionsgate film. So because Lionsgate has worked with Saw, with Horror Nights and that, it's a possibility. It could come. It's a good idea, Eric. I also agree, Eric. Sorry, Kix. I think they'll probably wait until to see if it does well. Oh yeah, that's another good one. That's also on my speculation list. Was The Haunting of Hill House. I think it's a very good one to bring to the park.
Literally have that written down on a post-it note on my desk at work because I was going to bring that up and then I forgot.
Oh no.
Yes. It is like my number 2 favorite show of all time. I absolutely loved it, except for the last 30 seconds of it. But the rest of it, I mean, I was like turning to my husband constantly while watching it, being like, did they make this show for me? Did they literally write this for me? It's like perfect television. So, I mean, I'm sorry. I think that would have to supersede The Thing for me on something that I would want to see as a maze. I just would love it. And honestly, I think The Thing would translate into a maze even better. But The Haunting of Hill House, and it's so relevant right now, and especially as they're going into Bly Manor and they're starting to tease that and stuff, that would be really amazing.
Eric has also brought up a good point, because they're doing like kind of a mythology with the show. It's not going to be based off Hill House anymore. It's going to have another haunting.
Right. So next time it'll be Bly Manor,
which is exciting. I know the story behind that. It's really, really cool, and they can make use of that. And because Netflix has a good working relationship with Universal because of how well Stranger Things did, I think it's a very high possibility. It's about 60% in my brain right now about possibility of coming to the event, but it's definitely high up there, and I think it's higher than most people think it is. But I feel like I'm the only one that liked the ending. Am I the only one that really liked it? Brian, back me up here. Did you like the ending to Hill House?
Oh, well, unfortunately for you, I'm the wrong person to ask because I actually don't have Netflix, so I haven't seen any of it
Oh my
at
God.
all.
What a
So,
shame, because it's so good.
Right, team homework. You're going away, and
oh well,
you are
trust me.
not.
Like I already have Stranger Things season 2 on the docket. As far as like, okay, well, here we go. Let's get started with 2019. Got to start catching up with everything. So it's definitely on there as a just in case, or and I'll definitely watch it, for my personal enjoyment. But yeah, next time I log on, it's definitely on the list.
Kicks and whips. I will say, yeah. I will keep disagreeing, Kicks. This is not going to end. Without going off topic too much, what I'll say is the ending is not a happy ending.
I
Rewatch it again.
disagree.
Rewatch it again. It is not a happy. It's actually a very depressing ending.
I don't agree with you at all. We'll have to take this conversation offline so that we
yeah,
don't put too many
I don't
spoilers
want to
out
ruin
there.
it for Brian. That's the thing, or anyone that's watching this video. So we're gonna
Right.
we're gonna come back. We're gonna curve back to speculation, and no, because I could discuss Hill House all day. But yeah, no, that I would love to see Hill House come to the event. They got very. Why is it Strike 3? That was the same.
Wow, it's in the same video.
Yeah, like that was the same point I was making. Why are we having this conversation?
You can strike twice for the same thing.
Oh God. But yeah, so I think God damn it. Hill House has a very strong possibility. For one, it's got a iconic location. Two, it's got the ghosts are possible. The ghosts are very easily done in the maze environment. And three, it's very popular. It hits all the criteria that John at least has for when he picks an IP. So yeah, I think Hill House has a. You like the ending that you disagree that was happy. We're away from that now. We're not going to talk about that now. That was 2 and 3. Jesus. But yeah, so Hill House, yeah, definitely high up there on my list as well. But then again, with Orlando, you guys are special because you got a ton of original mazes.
Oh yeah, well that's kind of the part of like why even like try to speculate at this point for at least for Orlando. I mean, there's a couple things, but like it's not like Hollywood where it's kind of like IP driven. Like now I feel like Orlando's really trying to, now that we are on this like IP crunch, they're really trying to rack their brains of like, okay, what can we do? What can we like, come up with, and what can we bridge and build on the brand that we have already. So, I mean, that's kind of the nice thing about right now in these earlier months where it's like, okay, well, we're going to get exciting stuff down the road. And I mean, who knows what they could come up with? I mean, last year we had freaking attacking plants, I mean, who knows what they could come up with as far as like original concepts.
I did want a little Shop of Horrors maze, but then you guys turned it into a giant apocalyptic little Shop of Horrors.
That's what we did. We just built it on a bigger scale.
Okay, so that's mostly the speculation. I will end with saying this. Okay, guys, we are not getting a Jaws maze. Please, can we kill this?
Oh man, come on!
Jaws
the Revenge maze confirmed. Come on!
It's never gonna happen, guys. You're not gonna get a Jaws maze. I hate to be that guy, but it's not happening. So how about Kicks just said, so how about this for speculation, guys? They have a tendency in Orlando to add additional houses after making announcements like they did last year. They confirmed 10. Could it be that we get an 11th? Well, you know what? That's the thing with Orlando. They did add an extra one a few years back. Brian, you probably remember this. Jaws scare zone. God damn it. Yes. Thanks, Eric. They added the virtual reality house, even though it still counted as like an extra house, but you had to pay extra for it. So I mean, with Orlando, it is possible. That's the thing. That's the nice thing. With Hollywood, we are confirmed. If they say we have 7 mazes, we are getting 7 mazes. There is no additional one. You guys have the space to kind of work around that, which is really good. So I'd say it's a possibility. Yeah,
it would be welcomed. I mean, another maze is always welcomed in Orlando. Anything to soak up crowds, like just anything we can put out, please. I'm kind of hoping maybe we have another, like stage show this year to like just something, anything. Cause yeah, it's always a little rough out there, but we'll see. I mean, like you said, they got the room, so.
I think also it just comes down to budget. If they've got an IP that's huge and it's expensive, that really limits what you're going to be seeing at the event. But it's just one of those things. It'd be awesome if they'd open both parks again.
Yes,
it would be awesome, but again, it comes down to budget. Whether they can actually perform that. There are limitations on certain areas, like the Dr. Seuss area. They can't use that anymore. They could only use it for that 1 year. I'd love a second show in Hollywood. Yes. Aimee, do you like Jabberwockies?
No.
Exactly. There it is.
No.
That's my thoughts exactly. We do need a second show, but it has to. If we do have a second show, it's going to be horror related. You know what? Like anything's better than Jabberwockies as long as it's Halloween related. That's all that I care about. But to be fair,
it doesn't fit the theme. I don't understand, and I'm not trying to put down like what they do or people that might enjoy that kind of experience, because I'm sure it's like a cool show for people, but that's not what I want to see at Horror Nights. That's not what I want to see at a Halloween event.
Well,
there's that one Jabberwocky fan that you just like upset. He's like, so he's sitting there going like, oh, but like this is what I get hyped up for every year. Nobody understands.
So that
we'll go to Las Vegas because they perform there. Bye.
To anyone that doesn't realize, please stop messaging John about Jabberwockies. John has no control over that. That is not John's department. That is Universal's department. It's a whole different section that deals with shows. John keeps getting these messages like, "Oh, get rid of Jabberwockies." It's like it's not up to me. Like, please stop messaging. How about Bill and Ted movie? Are we speculating the return to HHN? I don't think so. I think the farewell tour. I think it'd be too much of a slap in the face. It's like, oh, we're gone. Oh no, we're back. Like it was a big finale. I hate to say. I want a spooky vaudeville show with scary magic tricks and creepy ventriloquist tummies and fire breathing. Yeah, I'd be down with that. Like a creepy carnival, like Jack's Carnival back in 2007. That'd be great. A horror magic show, yeah, that'd be awesome.
Also, what you said about Bill and Ted before, I was thinking about this before. I was gonna ask this kind of at the end, kind of as a what if kind of thing. It'd be hilarious. What would happen if like MGM or whatever decided that they wanted to capitalize on Bill and Ted 3, and so they just make a maze of Bill and Ted 3 at Horror Nights, and then just be like, oh, it's back, but not really. I just as a big tribute to everything. I think that would be insane. Again, probably not going to happen, but I just like the idea of thinking that.
I think it would be too much like kind of like oh, you know what, we were there.
Well, because we did This Is the End. I'm like, well, you can't get any more like comedy spoofy than that,
Yeah. I don't think they'll come back. It's just one of those things. But if Kiss can do more than one farewell tour, so can Bill and Ted, I suppose.
See, there you go.
Yeah, I suppose. I just got counted. Thanks, Eric. Yeah.
Oh, is that 4?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, if Kiss can do one more farewell tour, yeah, so can Bill and Ted. Yeah, I suppose that works out better. I don't know. So in terms of shows, there's not much we can really speculate. I mean, obviously, Horror Nights. I'm not sure though. I don't know if creative team has control over, Academy of Villains, but I'm not sure if it's the same kind of process it is in Hollywood. Has control over, Aimee, mute it. There you go. That's why I have to do every time I look at a chat. So we've got it open so we can read the chat. Plus, Revelance is your friend when it comes to being part of HHN. Yeah, I feel it has to have tie in some way. As much as I'm not a big fan of Academy of Villains, at least it has some kind of a horror vibe to it. So
yeah, they tried to work in that little segment in there. They tried to make relevant.
I would love something close to something like, Jack's Carnival of Carnage show. Not necessarily with Jack himself. You don't even have to have Jack. Just something similar to that kind of vein. That would be great. I would actually sit down after going through all the mazes and literally just watch the show. But as long as it involves that, that's all that matters, really. How about a new Chucky film bringing Chucky back? Not a fan of this choice, but it makes sense. I'd say Chucky is a high possibility. For some reason, Horror Nights has a love interest with Chucky. I don't understand it. I've never been a big fan, but that's just me. That's my that's my issue. That's my burden to bear. I've never been a big fan of Chucky. Chucky.
I have the same feeling, but I mean, they do seem to like him, and there is a new movie, so I guess that's fair.
Well, my only big concern, my big like red flag as far as like, because they mentioned the movies, but the big thing about the movie is, don't forget that's not being made by Universal, who owns like the actual brand of like Child's Play 2 and onward. This new one's going to be MGM. So as much as like MGM would be excited about promoting, their movie reboot of Child's Play, I don't know if Universal would be on board with it. It's basically giving like MGM free advertising that they're not getting, even though they own the brand like itself. So like, I wonder if like they would be hesitant of doing something, even if they did like something based off of the TV series they're doing. Like, would it give publicity to the movie that they're not doing? That's my only big like wonder about doing something with Chucky again.
Eric, I agree. I miss Chucky's Insult Emporium. Back when I was a big chicken and they started it, like I did not start out like really like being very confident going through mazes. I used to be the biggest chicken in the world. Now I can just walk through and like there's nothing. But like back then, like that was the early days of when I started going. 2006 was when it first came back, and they started doing the Insult Emporium shortly after that, like a year, I think. But yeah, it's unfortunate, and John's right. Times have changed. People are so offended now by just the things. And if you watch, there's a video on YouTube, I believe, and it's of the Insult Emporium, and Chucky's just insulting people left, right, and center, calling them sluts and stuff like that. It's just like, and they're laughing. But if you were to do that now, people wouldn't take to it, and it sucks. But it was a good part of Horror Nights. I felt it was just something to alleviate some of that fear that you get from going through the mazes. You can just have a good time after.
Well, that's why I thought it was funny last year to see it, because like, last year we actually had a quote unquote Insult Emporium. And I thought it was funny when they started out to like test the waters. And so like they'd ask people, they'd drill them with questions like, oh, what do you do for a living?
Yeah.
And he goes, and so he's just like, oh yeah, well that's lame. And then he would move on to somebody else. So it was really funny to see them like the very censored version of what Chucky would be like.
Kicks and Whips just said, did they cut off for you? Did we cut off? Sorry if that's happened.
Oh geez.
That they don't own the rights for the remake. It'd be a slap in the face of Don Mancini, who still owns the rights to the original IP and who hates the remake. Yeah, I think there'd be a conflict there, and I don't think Universal really wants to get in the middle of that little conflict, because most of the cast of the original Chucky hates the remake, and the remake just is not bothered. They're kind of like, the video is buffering for me. Sorry, dude. I mean,
well, yeah, that's like I said about the the kind of, they don't want to promote the remake with and get kind of tied up with anything. So that's why I think that doing Chucky is like something, even if it was for their own series, they just didn't want to like muddy the waters with the complications.
Yeah, I don't think Chucky's going to be coming as like what are they calling him now, Buddy? Like he's,
oh yeah, Buddy. Even though in the trailer they say Chucky,
yeah,
so it's really confusing.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. Even though they said, "Oh, it's going to be a little bit different," but I guess they're still keeping Chucky as a big thing for it.
I have a question.
Yes, I may
what
have
about
an answer.
Zombieland? Do you know who has that, and if it's a potential IP? Because they have a movie coming out this year, and I feel like it has that kind of vibe that I could see them picking up.
That's Sony.
That's Sony.
Okay.
Sony doesn't really have to. Let me just type this week. Kicks is having some issues with the video, but I don't know if that would really translate well. They tried a comedy-based maze like that, but it just didn't. It didn't work well, and its name was "This Is the End."
I was just gonna say, this is that.
Um,
Well,
I
and since you mentioned that, that was also a Sony film,
yeah,
so maybe they'd be game for doing something else.
yeah, I'd say so. I don't
And the
think.
thing with Zombieland is that it's an already established, thing. The first movie was a huge hit, so I feel like there's the potential for a large draw, just because people are already familiar with it, having seen the first movie. Whether or not it would translate into a good maze is a fair point, though.
Yeah.
Well, I think you could just put like zombie Bill Murray in there, and it'd be an instant hit.
Well, that's the other thing that they wanted was a Ghostbusters maze. People wanting a Ghostbusters maze since like, oof, as far as I can remember. And it's like it's just one of those things. It's just difficulty translating it to a live experience. But you know what? Maybe one day we'll probably get something like that. But Zombieland, I don't know if that would even be a possibility. But who knows? I mean, Horror Nights has surprised in the past. With like, who knew that like This Is the End would be like a maze that just didn't make sense at the time. But you know what? They did it, and it sucked. But
it was an experience.
I think it was a great test bed to see what works. I mean, the nice thing with John and that they're not afraid to kind of test in new waters in terms of different IPs, and unfortunately, that one didn't work out as well. But who knows? Right, so we're coming to an end here, guys. If you guys have any further questions, we'll take them now, and if not, we'll move on. So, do you guys have any last thoughts, Brian and Aimee?
No, I mean, I think that's it for me, but I'm excited to be able to go to Monsterpalooza and cover this panel for you guys. So, hopefully I'll be back soon with some good information and some insight into what's coming.
All right,
Yeah,
Brian.
there you go. I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah, no, I think that we're getting into that speculation season. It's kind of like building and building, so I think it'll be exciting to see what we've got coming down the road. Like you said, anything could really happen, and yeah, here's hoping for we get some more stuff soon.
Thank you guys for joining us. Kicks and Whips, thank you, mate. Appreciate that. Eric, thank you for joining us as well in the chat. We really appreciate our followers on Horror Night Updates. We do this as a hobby, and this is a lot of fun to do, and we all love my headset's going in the trash.
Oh yeah, my headset's done. I'll have a new one by next time.
But we appreciate all our followers for Horror Night Updaters, and we hope to see you guys in the parks. And we'll be back with another video soon. I think the next time we'll do another video, I think we'll have our first IP up because we're going to be hitting into April. Monsterpalooza is coming up, which means we should be getting a announcement fairly soon. So we'll do another video then. And until then, guys, have a great rest of the evening.
Bye.
Bye.